Nitro is dead. Crown cracked, legacy bled. But the real ones rise from the dirt. Kevin Impact, Nick kicking in, legends alert.
Nitro is dead.
Body cold on the pavement.
Fake throne empty.
No more enslavement. Them Impact crashing wave. Demolition pavement.
Nick kicking in, shadow strike, lethal engagement. Nitro is dead.
Echo in the graveyard.
Heavy beats dropping.
We bling it, hit hard.
Legends eternal. Bars never fade.
Impact and kicking in.
Forever remain.
Kevin Impact, step in the rain. Feel the quake, don't flop days, body and foes. No mistake, punchlines land like earthquake. Shake the foundation. From Pikeville roots to UK domination. Bleak try to clash, got buried in the verse. Dialect duck, but Impact made it worse. Aggressive flow, no mercy, straight carnage.
Every bar a barrage, leave them damaged.
He built from the basement, ciphers to stages. No gimmicks, just rage. Breaking out cages when Nitro flex. Fake Impact, shut the gate. One round, one kill. Legends fate. Heavy 808 pound while the crowd go insane.
Kevin reload, bring the pain. Nitro is dead. Body cold on the pavement. Dead throne empty.
No more enslaving.
Impact crashing grand.
Demolition pavement.
Nick kicking in, shadow strike, lethal engagement. Nitro is dead.
Echo in the graveyard.
Heavy beats dropping.
We playing it hard.
Legends eternal. Bars never fade. Impact and kicking in. Forever remain. Remain.
They're kicking in, phantom in the mist, ghost mode activated. Silent killer calculated, never hesitated. Metaphors twisted like barbed wire fences. Underground menace, defenses defenseless. Strike from the shadows, precision incision. Leave ops wishing they never made the decision. No spotlight, hunger, but the skill make them shiver.
Pikeville,
Cold heart, deliver the liver. Reborn in the cypher, anime, soul, hockey grit. Counter every move, make the whole scene quit.
Nitro talk loud, but the legends stay quiet. Now the thrones calling. Nick rising to fight.
Heavy bass rumble while the stench creeps slow.
Kicking in strike, watch the body hit the floor.
Nothing tried to rain, but the fire went out. Fake kings crumble when the real come about. Kevin smashing forward, Nick cutting the route. Heavy beats banging, no doubt. No doubt.
Nitro is dead. Nitro is dead. Kevin Impact drain, Nick kicking in hard. Heavy beats thumping, Never will shred. Hate feel forever.
The crown on our head.
Nitro is dead.
Of a real undead.
Impact kicking in.
We reload, we ahead.
So, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, this is a very special episode here on the Nitro is Dead podcast. Before we get Ricky Armstrong in, I'm going to give him time to get in for this podcast. I'm going to talk about another podcast that's going to happen today at 5 p.m. As you can see, JTV hardcore champion Colin Klein makes his Nitro is Dead podcast debut. Going to be interesting, guys. A lot of JTV guys going to be in support for this one at 5 p.m. So bear with, me and Colin as we're going to break down the structures of the call community, the Efed, Colin's favorite matches. We're going to break it all down in this podcast. We got 3 hours of this. So it's 5 to 8. Unfortunately, the podcast from here is only from 3 to 4:30. So it's going to be interesting. So now, I'm going to send Ricky an invite, so I hope you guys enjoy. But until then, I'm going to replay the Nitro is Dead song to give him time. Hope you guys enjoy this. Ricky's running a little bit late, so we're going to get back with the episode on episode 10. And ladies and gentlemen, right here's the man, the Efed legend. Are you ready to meet the man that's going to be revolutionizing this podcast like he done every Efed that he's ever been in? Ladies and gentlemen, give a round of applause to the man, the legend, Ricky Armstrong on the Nitro is Dead podcast. Ricky, welcome to the Nitro is Dead podcast. You have the floor to say whatever you want to get your mind off tonight. The floor is yours.
Here I am. Thank you for having me here in the podcast. Very flattered, honored, and privileged. So let's break the forbidden one. Let's push the forbidden one. Let's just say in the old. Let's push the curtain to the back. Let's flip the script around with us. Let's screw the script. Fuck the script. Toss it. Do whatever. Toss that shit. So this is. Long as I've been in Efed world, which is 25 plus wonderful years. Started off from IWA, 3-Dub, XCW Central, West, Midwest. Did of course NWF back in the day we had. Then I started off. Then I went to SSW. Then I went to SWA. Oh, this goes on with Efed. I've been through a whole bunch, and then through over the years, Efed has changed to the most toxic piece of shit that I ever noticed in my entire career of Efed. Am I telling you this by toxic? Is like I've never seen promoters or kids run promotions. And for a person that's been here in this one, I had a biggest career, won titles in every single promotion you could think of. Some of them are no longer here because of the toxicity that's been going on with the changes of the Efed here. For me to see how the Efed from once the most passionate promotion ever, from the rise, the glory days, the people we used to come, we promo with our hearts, with our stuck between our sleeves, our hearts on our sleeves with pride and passion. I mean, from now to this babysitting, egotistic, maniac of people called promoters and can't do shit besides, tuck between their legs and get scared when the truth gets hurt to their faces. So that's what I miss about the old Efed days. Right now I'm still part of this, but I miss those days of put your heart on your sleeve is what they call it. Heart on your sleeve. Go out there, promote. Do what you gotta do. Showcase your call, your ability, your endurance, your capability of being out there and being the man. Start off your claw from the bottom and work your way up to the top to make a name for yourself. To be what I've done. I climbed from being a skinny little claw that I made. I started off with a skinny little claw, built each day, each year, up. No muscles, no mass, just red trunks, knee pads, and boots. That's all I started off with. No tattoos, no mask, no everything. Started off as from the bottom up.
Going back to the old days of Efedding, I'm going to bring another company up that, me and you was, blessed to be a part of that shut down due to the toxicity was HKW. HKW was a great show and people hated it because, they was better, not only production wise, but also you had the stars, they knew how to stick in kayfabe is what we call it.
Yes. See what changed back then to now. Kayfabe is like, what is it? People don't know what's kayfabe. Kayfabe used to be divide reality from fiction. Nobody knows that. Some people get hurt when they don't know, or they don't understand what's the difference between kayfabe and fiction. If you hurt them, they start crying. And they can't joke with you like you. Back in the day, you have to have tough skin. If you don't have tough skin, you're out. You're done. Hit the creek. You don't fit. You don't belong here.
Well, I think some of the promoters, and you can agree with me on this. I think some of the promoters went soft too. It's not only the Efed call wrestlers.
Yep, it's true. Some promoters are not. They're like, they don't know what it's like to make a claw. They don't know what builds a claw. From the ground up. You start off from the bottom. As KD says, honor. When they did to KD, they messed up his claw. They pretty much took his resistance. They took his tribute and they just slammed him out. Dishonor. And he threw a whole thing about it, which is still popular to this day. Go check it out. KD Dishonor.
KD is, one of my good friends. We actually killed the beef that we had, back then. He basically taught me a lot. back then I used to be around these toxic people, and you know, I saw it basically getting me nowhere. It got me kicked out of companies. It got me kicked out of opportunities that I could have been a big star if I didn't do the stupid shit. And you know, that's the truth.
And there's also part of promoters to give us guidelines, guidelines, what to do, what not to do. Hey, so if you're gonna try to go a little, please let them know. Hey, I'm gonna go do this or that. Give them a heads up. Don't just straight go for it. Don't be an ONW. Ooh, I broke the forbidden wall. Oops. Oh well.
So, J Kid asked, "What was the beef with KD?" So, back then, J Kid, I was hanging around that company that Ricky was talking about, and the owner would like tell me that if I was talking to KD, he would block me. He'd get removed. He would cancel me out of Efeds. Just basically controlling and manipulating people and trying to blackmail them. You know, if I could say that.
Yep. Back then, it was like, man, me and Katie had our beef too as well. There's a lot of things, but I'm the one. They man up. We talked it out a couple of times. We set the record straight, and now we're cool. We're all good. It's part of being a grown up. People learn this. Make mistakes, right? You own up to it. You talk it out like a real man would do. Be like, hey, what's going on? This is what's said wrong. Let's drop this and start fresh. Now look what happened. Fresh as it is.
No,
it takes one person.
I can tell you the main reason why they don't want to drop the issue is because their egos gets the best of them.
Yep. Exactly. They don't know how to be like, you know what? What's best for business is for people to reunite and the common goal. Efed is supposed to be a place to escape, a place where you can go. I said everyday normal life duties. Enjoy, not be tied down, not be. Everybody has life. Personally, after Efed, you don't have to be. You don't have to promo if you don't want. You don't have to be forced to promo. It's all about having fun. Being the what if you were a wrestler? That's what it's supposed to. It's supposed to be what if you were a wrestler in a real WWE, TNA, NWA, AEW. What if this is how you live your dream through this game? That tells you this is what you look like if you were actual pro wrestler in those big main companies.
I mean, I can tell you about some MWA guys. I got the chance to share the locker room with him. With Shane Douglas, he was very intelligent. Shane Douglas was also in ECW, but at the same time, these NWA guys and these older guys that's been in the business, they're the ones helping the young guys learn the craft, learn how to take the bumps, learn how to, master the craft to get to the next level. And, that's what Ricky's here to help. He's helped, younger guys to learn, not to learn what the toxic people taught them, but learn, the craft in the Efed business to grow, to be the big star, to be that big caliber.
Yep. You don't have to have.
For example, KD, one of those that's actually outshined with the whole, call. He's been pretty much everywhere, every promotion, champion pretty much every promotion.
Yep. You don't have to have your club. Don't have to have big muscles. Your club don't have to have mass muscles. You don't have to be. You don't have to look. Your claw could be however you want it, not however you present yourself. You're the pretending you're in a foot of the claw. You don't have to be muscles. You can have a skinny claw, and that skinny ass claw will outperform the whole entire roster.
Well, here's the thing that I noticed ONW did, and with KD's style, that really pissed me off. They would lower his attributes.
Yep. That's what
and that's something I'm just going to tell you guys. If you ever own an Efed or get somebody else's call, that's something you don't do. That's in the books. You don't mess with their product. You're allowed to suggest something if you need to change it. You need to go to them individually and say, hey, I don't like this moveset. Is it all right if I can change it? If they say yes, then you can do it. But if they say no, then there's nothing you can do. Just leave it alone. I mean, it goes back to, what Ricky said, we need to have the passion back. We need to have, being together back. We need to have a lot of people getting rid of that toxicity that's been killing feds.
Yep. This is what's going on with this Efed. There's too much toxicity. There's too much people letting their egos get to them. There's too many promoters thinking, oh, I run this company. I can run however I want it. Not true. Without the clause, we don't run a company. Without the car creators, we're nothing. We can make our clause, but would it be the same as having somebody's clause to showcase their skills on a platform that's like YouTube, Twitch? You want people to create clause they can showcase their skills, showcase their claw ability. Can they hang? Can they be all they can be? Other places don't want the clause. We will take it because we're going to show them what they didn't show in other places. We're going to show that, hey, this is your claw. We're going to put you on this pedestal, right? And it's up to your claw to perform. Not you. You're the claw creator. The claw will do the work for you. All you do is sit back and enjoy your claw, do the work, do the magic.
It goes back to what Ricky's saying, guys, and I wholeheartedly agree with him. Without the call creators, if you're an Efed owner, you can make a call, but your viewership's not going to grow. Your channel's not going to grow. I mean, it takes the call creators to make your show stand out. I mean, I've saw that firsthand with Mondo Mania Night 1. My Mondo Mania went from 60 views all the way up to 101. So, I mean, it was through the call creators that helped that show progress. It wasn't me, even though that I edited it and got things done, but it took guys that was a part of the show to make that show stand out and being successful.
You can make your own cloth, but then you need people that create cloths to come. They want to come and see the view. They're like, oh, my clothes in action. Oh, cool, I'm gonna go watch this show. My clothes in that show, right? Boom, and that's how you get bam right there, first view. You can have some cloth voters, some cloth creators. So there's just good. You don't have to have a whole bunch. You can have a couple people that are very close that you know. You can put your business, and you can have the rest other like wrestlers, people. You can have old WWE legend, ECW legends, claws, but at least you always have some like car creators in there that you've been knowing for years, you work with. Those are the ones that are gonna help out, expand, help you expand your base, help you expand the business, your channel, your product, your production.
It goes back to what I watched on, Jim Cornette, very intelligent guy. If you guys watch Jim Cornette's podcast, even though him and Vince Russo don't see eye to eye, but Jim Cornette's got some valuable stuff that could help you as a call wrestler and also a real wrestler. Jim Cornette will give you the insides of the business as well. He will tell you exactly what he don't like about it. And, the summary of this, what I'm trying to say is we all need to be like Jim Cornette. We need to have a voice to stand up. If we see somebody toxic in a company, we need to go to that owner and be like, hey, look, I'm not trying to tell you how to run your company, man. I'm just trying to save it from the toxicity. You need to get rid of this person. This is bad reputation for your company. Please get rid of them. You're going to see your channel grow after this, or you're going to see something good happen if you get rid of them. But if not, you're going to lose good people. That's what I'm trying to say here.
Yep. The Efed world could be a happy place, but it can also be a cruel place. There's two things. There's pros and cons to the Efed world. It could be a good place, but it depends who you have with you. It could be good for you if you have people that are close, friends that you know and they work hard. Because Efed started with a group of friends, group of people that wanted a place they can go play. It started a while back. Efed used to be when a group of friends got together and pretty much made Electronic Federation Entertainment. Made this for people like us to be a part of. And now look at it. Remember, kids made this, the word Efed. There was 4 teenage kids that made called Efed. Got together and started doing promos and everything.
Now, going back to J Kid's comment here, he said, call creators in your fan base, because most call creators aren't going to support you because jealousy runs deep in call creators, which is true. And he also said if you are in a toxic promotion, you leave. And I agree with that too.
Exactly. That is true. If you see that something's not going right or something's not working, and it's to just leave. You be like, don't give them no reason why. Just they will understand. You to see why you left. It's not for you. It's not for me. You're done. And that's how you suppose you pretty much save your career, save your club from being embarrassed more than they already done damage.
You know, if a lot of people could be like me, you and Jay Kid, the call community would be a good place for people to expand. But you got some people that's so hard headed. You try to tell us something, you know, for example, like on Moment of Truth, when I told the truth and exposed the truth out there, what happens? They got jealous. They made shots on their YouTube channels because of they wanted to think that I'm going to react to it. But you know, on all honesty, I thought about it after I done that Nitro is Dead podcast, but the Moment of Truth podcast. Why would I stoop to their level when I could just speak the truth and they can get more mad? Because the more mad they get is more views I'm going to get on my end.
Exactly. Because if they're getting mad, that means you're doing your job. If they're getting upset, that means you're doing your job, or they're not like that. And then trying to find a way to shut you down because you're doing what they couldn't do. Part of promoters like us, promoters, we have to send out sponsoring ourselves, make sure people get views. We go out there and post links for us to so we can get views. We want people to view our product. That's what we do. As part of we make the card and we promote. The rest is up to the game, the AI. We just do the matches and promote the show. Everybody else, the card creators, to them, promo. They don't. It's fine. They don't have to. They're not forced.
You know, it goes back to what J Kid said in the comments here. He said a lot of promoters panic when people leave. They either learn from their mistakes or expose how bad and greedy they really are. And, you know, that's true also. I have to, you know, back him up on that too.
Exactly.
You know, it was like I think it was the Chaotic TV when you was over there, the Chaotic TV, which is under DJs. You know, you covered a lot of topics that, you know, we could have all day to cover with the call community. But it seems like that when you point out something in the call community, it seems like somebody automatically assumes, and notice how I put the vocabulary, assumes that it's them and they want to get triggered, like kind of like butthurt in a way. Now, if you guys got any questions to ask, you guys got to ask, fill the chat up with Ricky Armstrong, ask him questions, you know, either
Questions out there. Any more questions? Anybody? And any questions you want, feel free any question.
So I am back, ladies and gentlemen. Sorry about that. I had technical difficulties. But we're going to go back to what we was talking about. With the call community. But before we do that, we got a question. Favorite match of your entire call career? And this is by Sumo Johnson.
My favorite match, of the year. My favorite match of the year in my career, it was me versus Katie. We had, it was a 60-minute gruesome Iron Man casket match. Brutal. Then it went for a good while. Back then it was a casket was in 2000, I think 2016 game, if I'm not presenting. 2014 since they had a casket match, and we were just going back and forth. He was just in his like middle of his career. I was ready. I already been there. And he was just in his prime career. Like he was just starting to get his feet wet and everything. And he was, for him starting off, he was. I give him props. He was giving me punches left and right. He was just starting. He was just still starting. He was giving me left and right punches. And for me, I was ready at that time. A vet in the Efed. I was ready hitting the status of vet. He was giving me all kinds of punches, kicks. This was just young KD. He was like he was a skinnier KD Dominator. Very skinny, golden tights. His little warrior suit, everything, bandana, Naruto bandana. He was giving me a fight of a lifetime. And I give him props. He pretty much gave it all. And he won because you know what? Back in the den, it was my things like, he pretty much won over me. He got the win. And from then his career just flew like no other. And another one I had was me versus CJ Mundo at HKW for the Chaos Hardcore Championship. And then he's a true meaning of what it's like to be a hardcore ref. His wrestlers are hard. He was hitting me with bats. He was throwing me through tables, chairs, name it. He did it all. I was busted open, but he was too. My club background is a mixed martial arts wrestler background, so I'm more of a submission expert. Has to hardcore, but I can adapt. And he was giving me a beating of a life, where I was like, God damn, he can't stay down. I was like, shit, get up. Got up, knocked him down. He got up. I was like, this mother bitch. So in the end, I was like, he overcome. He won. And I was like, he gave me a hell. He gave me hell. Something you don't see nowadays in the Ether world. Where a clock can put you through the test, just like what happened HW yesterday, where Mundo versus Nixon. That's how kind of match it was between me and Mundo. Crazy. Blood. Pure mayhem.
It goes back to show you what, when we talk about call in general, it goes to show you exactly how intelligent you can take something you watched on TV that has inspired you, either a wrestler, cartoon character, and use it as a gimmick to your own creative ideals on a WWE 2K25 game and make it into a wrestler that it comes to life and people is like they get addicted to it when they watch.
Oh yeah, like they say, controversial makes headlines, makes views. Sometimes you want to have a controversial call. You know why? Because it makes people want to tune in and be like, whoa, this call looks controversial. Like it's having some kind of bad flag or whatever. That's creating views for your show because you're creating chaos. You're creating chaos. You're creating controversy. You're creating people want to talk about it. Oh crap, his cause so and so.
It goes back to the creativity part. There's pros and cons in the call community, but as well as the creativity, because there's a lot of, I've noticed this, and I'm pretty sure you have too, Ricky, that when you make a call, somebody else gets that vibe like, oh, since he made that, let me make it too and copy him. That's what I call unoriginal. That's not being really creative, taking somebody else's ideal for your own.
Exactly. So true.
And it goes back to Kevin Impact when I had him on episode, I think it was episode 2. Let me go back and check to make sure. I think it was episode 2 that we done the talk show. We had, I'm pretty sure it was episode 2 with the Nitro is Dead episode. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, it was episode 2. When Kevin Impact basically said that, there's a lot of people that just don't have the positivity mindset of call and don't really have their...
Yep.
They want to think more about toxic than they do positive.
It depends how you build your cloth. If you build your cloth just right, oh boy, you see the magic in it.
It goes back to, HKW, one of my favorite matches where I won the hardcore title. You probably remember him, Ricky. El Diablo at Pure Bedlam. I think it was 2019 or 2020, somewhere around there. They had me in a match kicking off the show, beat El Diablo, win the title, and then I basically had legendary matches with you, Chris Chaos, which is another good guy in the call community. Rarely get to talk to him, but I think he's still doing it. But Brian Mead, another good, I think he's retired. Evan Jones. There was a lot of good creations out of the Efed Elite out of those 3. I
was part of the Efed Elite, and I was part of Forge and Pain, which was also called Forge and Butt Plugs. That's how people were calling us because we were so hated. I was part of a faction called Efed Elite with Brian Mead, Evan Jones, CJ, and Daniel. Yep. And then I was part of the FIP, which is a very Efed faction run by me, Double Dog, Mike Blaze, Brody Blackwell, a couple others.
Now, the real question remains is if Ricky Armstrong comes back to TNA, we saw what he had with Night 1. I don't know if you was watching Night 1 of Mondo Mania. And, the question I had for you, when we had a mystery opponent for you at Night 1 at Mondo Mania when you had the open challenge, How shocked were you to see the phenomenal AJ Styles TNA version, not the WWE, but the retro AJ Styles accept that challenge, and you had a legendary Mondo Mania match against AJ?
It was surprising. I was like, what the hell? I was shocked and surprised.
I mean, not one, I have to say this was legendary. Like, the start to finish. Also, we got night two of the legends of the call community. You, as Ricky Armstrong, and also Kevin Impact are going to the Hall of Fame. So how you're feeling about that, knowing that, time's ticking less than, I would say, about 2.5 hours until you go out there and give that Hall of Fame speech?
So everybody asks those questions for me. What if, I feel great, but also is the what if. I retired 2019 my claw because there was nothing left for me to go. I knew the Efed was changing. And for me, I'm an old dog, and Efed, it wasn't the same when I first started. So I knew Efed was changing in different directions. So for me, I had to step away. And then over the years and years coming, and all of a sudden, people are asking, you need to come back. You need to come back. The most popular question is, you need to come back. From Efed promoters to a person like you, CJ, KD, they're all asking, you need to come back to the Efed. I know you were gone for so long. You need to return. And believe me, when I finally, maybe it's time to come back. Maybe it's time to remember who Ricky Armstrong really is. Maybe it's time for people forgot what I can do. Can I still handle generation? Oh, maybe I can't. Maybe I could, but we're going to try. Can I still go? Can Ricky Armstrong be what he was before, the real deal? Can. And then my head just started spinning. And I started getting that adrenaline. I started to be like, if you get that passion to come back in you, then your blood starts going, and you're like, you know what? Maybe it's time to come back. So I came back, not to get championships, not to get ranks. I already got, not to bury people. I came back for a lot of reasons. One reason is to help these young talents move up. 2 reasons, I don't need a gold because my name is already gold. My name is already solidified. My name is already printed in the history books. My name means more than the Efed name itself. My name pretty much solidified. Anywhere I go, they know who I am. They know. I could just sit there in the Efed audience. They will know. That's Ricky Armstrong. I could be in the chat. Hey, Ricky. They know. No ifs or but. That's how my name is known. I don't need no title. I don't need no belts, no nothing, no plate. My name is my championship. My name, my legacy is who I am. Anybody can step up to me, win or lose. I don't care about streaks records. I lost a lot and I won a lot. But in the end, it's up to the new generation of this company, of this business, to rise up. Don't let people hold you guys down. Rise up. You can be what you want to be if you just believe in yourself. Be faith in yourself. If people downsize your claw, then leave. They're not really promoters. A promoter shall not touch your claw. Promoter shall not even do nothing to your claw without asking permission from the claw owner.
Going back to that, I covered that topic, like if, they want to change the moveset, what I always do with my guys, is go talk to them and like, look, I don't like the movesets that's on you. I recommend this. I just need your permission to do so before I go and change stuff on it. That's the respectful way of doing it. Now these promoters, they just, don't even come and tell you that they changed the moveset. It's just like, really, you don't even let me know that my moveset's changed, and then you change something on my call that I didn't, agree on. Then that's when, it becomes, sometimes it can lead to drama, but other times it can really get personal real fast, if I'm trying to say that correctly.
Yep, it could. Because some people don't know how to take things to the heart too much. Instead of being, okay, I understand. It's your claw. You have a saying. Exactly. It's your claw. You have a saying on what your claw goes through. You have the saying that what your claw could change to a certain extent. Because remember, we're just promoters. You guys are the cloth creators. You create cloths for us, and we showcase them for you. It's how it always works. 50-50. It's like in a real wrestling business. You need bookers, you need managers, and you need promoters. So make sure your claw is going the right path, in the right direction.
You know, I've watched a lot of shows, Smoky Mountain tapes, over these months, and seeing how they developed. This, we're talking about a small company before they, got big, like Smoky Mountain Wrestling. They started out as a small company, sold it out first night, had fans like all the way around the bleachers, and then they had, the wrestling booker. They had their own show and structures that, it was kind of like watching old WWE with the Golden Era and, WCW segments, that they had all this into one ties to where it was like, really, this small company is now, moving up. It's not, a small company. Now it's territorial. And I think really and truly we need to bring the territories back to call. Like, AHW's got their territory. Titan Nation Line's got their territory. JTV's got their territory. We need to bring those territory days back to make call fun again, but also to bring back the positivity side and the creative side to our own unique structures and make call what it was when I first started in HKW, where it was fun. You had, a lot of people, you probably remember this backstage after I won the Chaos title, but it was like, Brian Mead at the grill congratulating me. There was a lot of other people congratulating me. You was congratulating me. You had a lot of these people congratulate, even if you didn't win the title. Good match. I think we need to bring that back. Even though you lose, losing actually helps you in a way because you learn from your mistakes and you learn to adapt to the parish, if that makes sense.
Yep, that does make sense. Perfect sense. What we used to do is have a map, on an essays map, and have a territory in each spot that runs that territory. So let's say we got Central, Midwest, Mid-East in the middle. Whatever that spot, that one E4 run that section. The other E4 run the other section. So let's say HK, let's say TNA runs Kentucky on now. Detroit, right there, middle.
Going back to territory days, there's also a thing that I forgot to mention, and you probably respect it too, Ricky. Like, not only they had territories, but they respected each other's territories, and they didn't go into the territories that they was partnerships in unless they went and asked the promoter or the guy that was over the company to ask for permission if they could book a show or have a show in those territory states, to book a wrestling show, whether it was NWA, AAW, you had Jim Crockett's promotion, Smoky Mountain Wrestling, all those stood out to make stars. If we could do that as an, I'm not saying as an Efed, because the Efed's pretty much died because of the toxicity, but I'm saying as a call generation and make something more unique, we could pretty much progress this to a whole different level and bring back the fun in it that was taken out of it by these toxic and negative individuals.
Yep, the Efed changed a lot. It has, and it's not the same as what I was pretty much bought in. When you bought in, it's not the same. There's too many egos in this certain Efed that we know who they are. We're not mentioning any names, but we know who they are because mention names, they get butthurt and they start crying like a little bitch. So this ego, they think they're above everything. They think they're top of the line, and they think because they have great views, they're a top. Not if you until you reach a certain view, you're nothing. Nobody's nothing. Promotion could be up and go down. It can break, make or break.
Going back to the promotions here, there was a lot of good promotions that stood the test of time. You HKW was one of those. APW, I'm pretty sure it's still running. You had two of those, and back then, you didn't have these toxic owners blocking you or just believing somebody that was toxic and took their word for it. It was like the call promoters actually knew who was telling the truth and who was pretty much just causing drama, toxicity, negativity, and trying to downgrade and tear down others. And I've pretty much said this, I think to Kevin Impact or maybe you, one of those two in a message that call is about unity, not division.
We need to go back to our APW has been around for a long time. I had to shut it down for a while because of people's egos, and I opened it back up. And then an HAW, it was a thing that I thought hardcore. We need something. We need hardcore back in. That's what it is. I was Anarchy Hardcore Wrestling because I need it. It reminds me of the ECW and the Comeback Zone Wrestling Day. People don't know what Comeback Zone is. That's also in GCW. It's like 3 hardcore events put into one. And that's what becomes that. The HW is all based on hardcore. Means there are no rules, no rule breaks, just pinfall submission. That's all it is. No DQs out the window. That's all we do. There is no traditional wrestling rules. It's a hardcore based rule. Like La Fufu said, Viva la France.
Now we got another question about Wrestling Fan. He asked, what is your favorite accomplishment in call?
My favorite accomplishment in call. Ooh. Let's see. Well, my favorite accomplishment in call is starting up from the bottom and work and grinding to the top. Grinding, going to work, going to every division, from every company, starting from the last division. It could be cruiserweight, lightweight, welterweight, whatever. From that, but all to the top. Didn't care what division I was in. I worked my way to the top each one. Grinding, I lost. Had broken legs. My claw got beat up. My claw got chewed up. I won. But in the end, when it came to like finally accomplish, I was happy when I won my first title after all that hard work in my whole career. When I won the first title, which was known back then as the Pureweight Championship, World Championship.
Going back to the older days, right after you retired, when I was in HKW and learning the craft and, going to these different companies, I've noticed something that, when legends like you left, it felt like to me that the call community died with the legacy. In other words, that you was the last dying breed that stopped the negativity, that basically stopped the drama, the, negative people. And then after, legends like you left and retired, it was like that we didn't have an Efed. It was just toxic this, toxic that, drama this, drama that. It, basically it's dying is what I'm trying to say. It's dying to a core.
Because like us. Because we were the last dying breed. We were the last outlaw. I was the last original left from that breed. The last one, the last American, the last of that, the last. Like Undertaker says, I'm sick of the Efed. I was the last outlaw of the Fed.
Going back to old school days, before I got an e-fetting, I was watching this one company. I think it was MIW. There was rivals with HKW, and before I went in there, I heard them, talking about HKW. Don't join this, don't join that, and I told myself, I'm like, there's something wrong, because why would you exactly say that about HKW and then do what you just done? It's like, it just don't make sense. HKW, it was home to me. Being the Chaos Champion, it was pretty much, it was one of those feel good at home moments, being in there with legends. I think one show you was on, you remember, I think they brought Damian Sandow from WWE to actually be a part of the show, which was pretty awesome to see, a WWE star such as Damian Sandow. I don't know what he goes by in-ring name now, but just seeing that in general covered the whole foundation of HKW, bringing in legends like that, especially Damian Sandow giving HKW shout-outs.
Because Brian Meats had connection with a lot of people. Brian Meats now does. Now he works as professional wrestling manager in pro wrestling now. He now does manage in his hometown Detroit. He runs a professional wrestling. He's now a manager for a pro wrestling company. So he's doing an actual real thing now, and he had connections with these wrestlers. Sometimes he had to have his pocket to let them do little promo, little sponsors for little HKW. He'll have his own pocket just to have them people to do like little snips. That's what you call promoter. They go out of his way, make sure his show goes out there. Even if you have to pay a couple of dollars for an actual wrestler to do a little small snippet.
Going back to Brian Mead, when I don't know if he actually owned HKW, because I know he was a part of it. I didn't know who the owner really was, but
he owned it. He's the one that made the logo, made the belt. He actually has the real belt at his house now. HKW belt. He made that belt real.
Well, since I know it's Brian now, like HKW, I defended it like I did AHW. It was like home. It was, a place that I could call home. A lot of these feds are soft. They don't like cussing. They don't like, violence. They don't like hardcore. They want to do everything.
Yep.
They want to do away with, ECW, and, they don't realize that before
They're
there was
too PG. They're too PG.
Before there was a WWE RVD, guess where RVD went? ECW.
Yeah, before ECW there was NWA. With NWA there was Mid-South Wrestling, or AWA. Or let's go all the way back.
There's a lot of knowledge that you can take down, guys, just by me and Ricky can, just pinpoint where these wrestlers have been from, because we study while we do our shows. And we learn from Brian Mead. Brian Mead, I'll give him a shout out here on the Nitro is Dead podcast, because, he does a fantastic job when he ran HKW. He made champions. And when I say champions, he builds you up from the bottom to make you the top star.
Yep, there's a lot of people you give credit to. He was one of the people. He will listen to your script, to listen to your story. He will put it together. He will even make you intros and everything.
There was a lot of guys too that was in HKW, Ricky. We got on topic of this. Daniel Roberts, Rob Roman, Shandar Sean. I think I got his name right. If I didn't, you can correct me on this.
Who else? We had the Beast, I think. And one person named the Beast. The other one, we had, of course, Evan. We had CJ, who was one of them. Who's the other one? Robert Daniel, which is Daniel Roberts, however you want to call him. The Lion, who his name is almost something. Joe Rivers was there. And the Great Fufu was not there.
I think the Fufu was either at donut shops or selling ice cream, but he was running a business. Let's just put it that way.
Fufu was not even existing then. He was just little old Stormy. Before he became Ryan, he was like little. He was not even Efed brought up yet.
Going back to Ron Storm, this is how we actually met. Before I met Ron Storm, when I was in HKW, I was pretty much in a company known by Tyler Bleach Black. And Tyler's one of my good friends, rest in peace. He done a little bit for the business. And I met Ryan when Tyler brought back, I think, either Red Aqua or Blue Wrestling, or there was another company that they owned. I can't think off the top of my head, but when they actually booked the show, I remember the first match that Tyler had me and Ryan for. It was CJ Mondo versus Ron Storm. And, I looked at Tyler and I said, Tyler, are you really wanting me to new jack his ass and do Vince Grimes and throw his ass off the scaffold? Because, this guy's like, banana hair, green pants, look like I seen a bootleg.
It's just a thing. Okay. It's a thing. Yep. See, I had problems with Tyler. Me and Tyler had our ups and downs. Like we had our moments and our ups and downs. And yep, we got along here and there once in a great moment. All the time. We weren't the best of friends. We were off and on with each other.
Going back to Tyler, I remember Tyler, when I was in HKW and was Chaos champion, Tyler, I helped him get his foot in the door because, nobody wanted to actually help him get an HKW. And, this is actually, a story that I'm going to tell here. Tyler, he commented in the chat, he was not even an active wrestler. He was a wrestler, just owning the company by himself. I think he just went to Evan Jones and said, just got Evan Jones started. And, Evan, he sees you, when you comment in the chat, as a fan. So he basically, just add a little bit of fuel to the fire as a heel. And, I remember Tyler being, I think it was in Discord at the time, or maybe even Facebook Messenger. I can't remember because it's been years back. And just seeing those two, counteract. Tyler's like, CJ, help me get in that company so I can kick his ass. And I'm like, all right, if you want to, I'll help you in, but you better be able to beat the, wrestling god. So I had to go talk to Brian Mead because I think we had a TV taping right after Per Bedlam where I did my promo as the new Chaos champion. And I think, the same night I was tag teaming. I don't think I really had a partner, but I was tag teaming against the Efed Elite, Evan Jones, and somebody. So I told Brian, I said,
we believing in KD.
We got somebody that wanted to join HKW. And, I mentioned to Brian about bringing Tyler in, and that's how Tyler got in HKW. Tyler was there for a while. And, even though he's no longer with us in spirit, in the flesh, but, in spirit because he's deceased, rest in peace, Tyler Black. Just, brings memories what I had, in the call community, seeing somebody that paved the way for these newer guys, just like you paved the way for guys like me to get in. Tyler done the same way. He paved in a way for guys to get in to do this, to be their own unique call character creation, whatever you want to call it nowadays.
Yep. Everybody has we're like the MJ of the wrestling world.
There's a lot of things that when I noticed, stepping in the call industry, you have a lot of opportunities out there. Don't get me wrong, but also you have to watch who you associate yourself with, because one bad person can literally cost you everything. I've learned that by mistake. And, I told myself once, I got screwed out of bigger companies, I said, never again will this happen. I'm going to keep my guard up. I'm going to stay away from these people. And, look where I am now. I mean, AHW, about ready to be in JTV. J-Kid does a damn good job with JTV, don't get me wrong. Somebody that does player versus player, he's elevated that company to bigger and phenomenal heights, just like AHW and APW that you ran, that you got criticized by these, haters for, being their lackey under their boot or some in other words, I'm going to say something that Roman Reigns would say, some bro zebra bullshit.
King Henry. Dominant.
Oh, that's Katie's stepbrother. Hey, just don't say his name and he appears.
He might. That's Ryan Storm's stepbrother.
In that case, he's got to be King Fufu.
La Fufa. La Fifi. Fifi.
But now, guys, we only got 27 minutes left in this podcast. So, I mean, send Ricky your questions. I mean, this is a huge legendary star that you guys missing time on. Because today at 5, guys, we are going to be bringing in Colin Klein.
Nobody has questions, so y'all can follow me on Facebook, Twitter. Of course, people want to have more questions. If you want to be a part of AHW, you can let CJ know. Hit me up.
Also, yeah, guys, if you want to be a part of AHW, let me know. I'm talent relations there. So, I mean, if you want to be a part, hit me up on the CJ Mondo on Twitter or CJ Mondo on Facebook and let me know so I can, get back with Ricky to be a part of AHW, because, we actually grew not only in views, but, we've done a great show. I mean, the last time I checked the AHW, I think it was over 200 views.
240 now.
Yeah, so, I mean, AHW is doing good. So you guys got questions to ask here. Time's ticking away. We only got 25 minutes. So, I mean, you guys got a lot of time to ask this man questions before we go over to JTV's Colin Klein, the hardcore champion.
Yep, that's the way. If you want, you can look me up. I'm all over the place. Facebook, Twitter, I'm everywhere. YouTube. I'm in all platforms nationwide. Is on your side. Before Mr. Colin the Conqueror comes in. And we have a Fufu Mania coming around. believe in Joe Hendry. Looks like no one has questions. Huh. Okay. So if you're interested in joining APW, AHW, or anywhere that I'm somewhere, in between, reach us, follow us, join the new movement. Let's change the esports together. One common goal, one common entity.
Going back to the call community, ever since, legends like you paved the way, I really think that, these newer guys are disrespecting you in a way because, you've done a lot for the community, a lot for the call industry. And it seems like to me that, they bring drama and negativity. It's, basically going up and slapping legends like you in the face. I mean, it's sad and shameful.
Yeah, they like to use the star power that I created. I've been here, and my name is well known throughout the Efed community. They use that to help them with views, help them get them up to the mountain.
Now we bring Ricky here. I mean, we could bring him back for another episode on the Nitro is Dead podcast. It's actually been a good talk show because we covered pretty much about everything. But we still got time for questions, Just don't be afraid to ask those questions, Keep those questions coming.
Before La Fufu shows up.
Before La Fufu shows up, and then you know what's going to happen. He's going to battle Ricky until a promo battle and take a sock and call it Mr. Fufu and shove it down Ricky's gullet.
Or Mr. Iguana.
But don't be afraid to ask questions, guys.
Don't be in Henry, be a dominator.
Because coming up next, guys, huge podcast is coming up next. Colin Klein, JTV Hardcore Champion. This man has pretty much beat everybody in his arsenal for the JTV Hardcore Championship, and this man's going to be a tough challenge if I step in the ring with him in PvP to take that hardcore title.
But
so,
CJ, he has not beaten me yet. He has not faced Ricky Armstrong. That's the what if in your head. Think about that, the future, what if moments. Put that in your head for a while. He has not beaten everybody on the list. There's one person still that hasn't beaten.
I mean, heck, where's Kevin Impact where you need him to book a triple threat match for the hardcore
title?
Exactly.
I'm like, see, there you go. You have to go propose a little thing to Mr. Kevin Impact. The what if moments is happening. You give him that proposal, and then go ahead. You do what you gotta do. Propose that match to Mr. Kevin Impact.
Just don't put us in a foo-foo match with Ron Storm because I crush him.
Nope. But go ahead. Tell Kevin Impact. Have proposal with proposal. They might change the landscape of hardcore divisions forever.
DJ Chaotix in the chat. What's up with everyone? If you want to ask Ricky questions, DJ, now's your moment. Time's ticking. We only got 20 more minutes, so ask this man questions away.
It's DJ La Fufu. The question is DJ La Fufu or not?
My question is, if Ricky Armstrong came to JTV, could he beat the JTV World Champion Shinden? And we have a question by DJ Chaotic. The most legendary moment you had in call. And this is by DJ Chaotic.
My moment, my legendary moment. Ooh, it's me going into more than one Hall of Fame within a year.
Now the question is, Ricky, if you was to go in JTV, my question is for you is this. If you earned your way to the JTV World Heavyweight Championship, could you beat the champion that's held the title for 3 years and the champ's name is Shinden, the JTV World Heavyweight Champion? I'll let Ricky answer that. Here's a question for Ricky. Let's see if Ricky can answer this. But keep those questions coming, guys, as Ricky's having problems with his mic. But we will save this question if he returns, because we got a next podcast coming up that is this one. Colin Klein, JTV Hardcore Champion, going to come up next here on this channel. Save your questions for Colin, as we're going to bring Colin Klein into the Nitro is Dead episode 11. I think Ricky's mic's still having issues because I cannot bring him in. So we got 6 minutes. So I hope you guys enjoyed this episode with Ricky Armstrong and myself. We brought a lot of things, a lot of legendary moments we both had. As far as HKW, we're going to bring in Colin Klein shortly at 5 p.m. And if Ricky can connect in time, I think his device is not working. But if not, this has been a legendary show, to say the least. It's time's pretty much ticking right now. He's got 15 minutes on hand. But hope you guys enjoyed the episode of Nitro is Dead podcast with Ricky Armstrong, the Efed Call legend. If you guys want him back, only thing you got to do is fill up those comments in the chat below after, of course, after we go live. But Ricky is pretty much back in the booth.
Can I still go for the big dogs? That we'll find out. Can Impact books the match? Never say never in the book.
So here's the question that I want to ask you, Ricky. We got JTV World Heavyweight Champion Shinden running his mouth saying that he is the JTV Legend Killer. Now, since you are a legend, I want to ask you if Kevin Impact put the title on the line, this is a question I'm going to ask you, and I'm going to pop it up. Could you beat JTV World Heavyweight Champion Shendon, especially if the JTV World title is on the line, player versus player?
Give me the time.
I think Ricky's mic's giving him issues. So the question's still up at hand. I think Ricky's got mic issues. I'm trying to get Ricky a part of this to answer a question. But if Ricky cannot answer this question due to the mic, we're probably going to have to bring him on in the next episode to ask him this question.
What if? The what if moments begin. I mean, I can't say if I could. I'll try my best. You know, I'm the old dog. These calls are younger, so it's like it's possible. Yes, but can I do it? Maybe. Never know for sure until I get in a ring with him. In a ring with him and see for myself. I can't suspect what I can I do. You know, this is the different generation. This is a different breed now. So can't say yes, can't say no.
No,
if I get booked JTV, then we shall see. It's up to you guys to make it happen. Make the vote.
Here's the thing that I want to ask
vote.
you: if the title is on the line,
make the biggest vote. Go let Kevin Impact know.
If the title is on the line, could you beat that 3-year historic reign by Shendon? But ladies and gentlemen, this is a legendary podcast here. I have to agree with DJ Chaotic. Legendary day of action. We getting ready to bring Colin into the talk show on episode 11. So, matter of fact, I want to personally thank Ricky for being a part of here and being a part of the talk show on the Nitro is Dead podcast because he's having mic issues and internet issues. So I'm going to close this one out shortly, but let's see if we can work with Ricky here first before we close it out.
Yep, I think it's up to JTV. Can I beat the world champion? I don't know, but you never know. Never say never in a book. If I can beat the world, I'm the old dog, but I guess a new dog. Young generation, you get probably young, energized, and I'm one of those old dogs that might not my speed like I used to. But can I do it? Who knows? Never in a book of Efed and wrestling. Never say never. If I do win, hey, good luck. But I'm saying, championships not really my thing. If I get one, congrats. But one of my accolades. But if not, win or lose, don't matter. But if it comes down to it, if Impact books it, then I'm all in.
And here's the thing that I'm going to give Ricky the floor on, and it's time to actually do this. As we go to our
Always be yourself. To accomplish your goals, just be yourself. Wherever you are, call creators, formators, be yourself.
So final thoughts or last word closing moments. So Ricky's got a last word that he wants to say before we close this podcast. As we get ready to interview coming up next, Colin Klein, but Ricky's got the floor. The question is, I'm wondering what Ricky's going to say for his last word for closing, but also before we get to that, stay tuned for what's coming up next, guys. Colin Klein's podcast as we head back to Ricky.
My last thing I want to say before we cut this off is that people, be yourself. Create the claw you want to be. Don't let people judge your claw, judge you. Be yourself. Stand up for what you believe in. Stand up for what you are. You're a person. Everybody, we are humans in the world. Stand up for yourself. Don't let people, let nobody pick on you. Let no one tell you what to do. You are your own person. Don't let nobody change your claw. Don't let no one run your claw out. Don't let no one be your voice. You are the voice of the voiceless. You speak, they listen. When you speak, the world is watching. When you out there YouTube streaming, the world is watching. You make your name out of how you want to make your name. You make yourself relevant. You push through grits, grind, break, sweat, whatever. Even if you're 5'5" claw or your whatever size, you fight, go to the extreme. Don't let no one tell you otherwise. So for the new generation of these claws that are coming in 2K26, for the new people, since right now PS4 is going to be gone, and we're going to have to figure it out for PS5. Now everybody has PS5. It's going to suck in the community now. We're going to figure it out. Plan A, plan B, plan C now. It's time for you guys, the next generation of this Efed, to shine. Grow. Change Efed to what it was, to what it needs to be.
Personally, I want to thank Ricky for taking his time to be a part of this legendary episode for Nitro is Dead episode 10 with the one and only Ricky Armstrong. I want to thank you for your time. And before we leave, guys, I'm going to say my last words is, if you want Ricky Armstrong back, put it down in the comments below, because we're going to definitely bring him back on future episodes. Same as Kevin Impact, and we're going to be closing out. I want to personally thank Ricky for his time and a lot of information being shared on this podcast with the legend himself, Ricky Armstrong, as we close this one out. Thank you, guys. Like, subscribe, and we will see you guys on the next one.
Peace. The Middle East. and La Fufu.